Hi everyone, welcome back. So today you will be working on home lesson 16, which is called midpoints and medians. There are a couple definitions that you need to be aware of. So as you're watching this video, you should have the Google Doc open and you should be filling in some of these answers. I believe you have the definitions already in there, but I'm going to go through two examples that you need to write down the solutions to. And then after that, you will have a investigation A and B to go through on your own. You're going to add solutions to that same Google Doc for those, and you're going to submit that as part of your homework. So back to the vocabulary, these two definitions, you need to know what they are. So to bisect something means to cut it into two equal parts. And the definition of a median is a line that joins the vertex to the midpoint of the opposite side. So here I'm selecting vertex A and I'm drawing a straight line to the opposite side. And that line has to end exactly in the middle of B and C. Okay, so if I measure B to C, then I can find the midpoint of that, and then I'm going to draw a median to go towards that point. And then on the side here, I just have that the length of B to M is equal to the length of M to C. Now, whether I say M to C or C to M, it doesn't matter because it's a length, so it doesn't matter which letter goes first. Same as when I say B to M, I could have also said M to B is equal to C to M. All right, so for the first example, we are given the area of triangle XYZ, to be 16 centimeters squared. So we know the area inside. I'm just going to label that. So the area inside here is 16 centimeters squared. And we need to calculate the area of triangle XYA. So XYA would be X to Y to A. So we're talking about the whole triangle. Okay, so if we know the area of half of the triangle, okay, because we know this is broken up into two equal halves because we just drew a median from one vertex, vertex X, to the midpoint of Y to A. We know it's exactly in the middle because there's one little line here and one little line there. So it's showing that it's exactly in the middle. So when we draw that line, that breaks up our triangle into two equal parts. So if we're given the area of this half to be 16 centimeters squared, the whole thing must be 2 times that amount. Okay, so triangle XYA is going to be equal to 2 times triangle XYZ, which is 2 times 16, which is 32 square centimeters. And question B, find the area of triangle XZA. So XZA would just be the second triangle over here. And I said that this median has broken up our triangle into two equal parts. So if this side is 16 centimeters squared, that means the other side also has to be 16 centimeters squared. Okay, so those are equal to each other. The second example, calculate the length of X to Y. Okay, so another property, and you will discover this when you are doing your investigation. So normally you would do the investigation in class while I help you out, and then we would do this lesson. But because you're at home, I am flipping it. I'm going through the lesson first, and then you can try some of the investigation questions. So hopefully you will be okay doing it on your own. So another property that you're going to discover is if we have a triangle and we draw the midpoint, okay, if we find the midpoint of P to X and label that R, and we find the midpoint from P to Y, and we label that point to be Q. And if we join those two points together, you will discover that the length of Q to R is going to be half the length of Y to X. Okay, so if we know this length is 12, X to Y has to be twice as long. So it should be 24. And the third example, we have Randy who conjectures, so he makes a prediction or he guesses that angle ADC, so ADC means, when we say angle ADC, what we're really talking about is we're talking about the D. Okay, it's the letter in the middle. So ADC means this angle right here. In this diagram will be acute. So hopefully you remember what acute means. Acute means an angle less than 90 degrees. So less than 90. When point D is located anywhere on side A to B. Use a counterexample to that this conjecture is false. Okay, so what he's saying is that it doesn't matter where this line falls. See if I can move this around. It doesn't matter where this line is, anywhere along A to B. He is saying that that angle that we labeled is going to be acute. Okay, so we can see that is not true, right? It is acute anywhere along here, but as soon as I go straight down and make a 9-degree angle, and then anywhere left of that, you can see the angle is going to be more than 90. So instead of acute, so if I move my line over here, for example, that line now, you can see this angle now is definitely going to be more than 90 degrees. So it's going to be obtuse. Okay, so I said if point D is located anywhere on the left side of a perpendicular line, right? So if I draw a perpendicular line, this would be a perpendicular line, right? Because it would make a 9-degree angle right here. Drawn from point C, the angle will be obtuse. Okay, so anywhere on the left-hand side of this point, anywhere along here, that angle in there is going to be obtuse. Okay, so that's how you would explain that. So those are your 3 examples. Okay, now you're going to be working on investigations A and B, and you've got a couple options here. So the first part is asking you to draw a large triangle using a ruler on a sheet of paper. So if you've got some graph paper, that might make it a little bit easier to draw a nice neat triangle. Go ahead and do that. If not, you can also do this in GeoGebra. Okay, so in GeoGebra, you can plot 3 points and then create a triangle and work through the activity in GeoGebra. Or just do it on paper and then do everything by hand and take a photo and insert it into your Google Doc. The second question says to measure side A to B. So the next part I'm going to take you through some of the steps just to make sure that you know what you're doing. So you're going to measure A to B, find the midpoint of that, and you're going to label that D. So if this is my midpoint, I'm going to label that point D, and then you're going to do the same thing on the other side. Find the midpoint of that side, and you're going to label it E. And then you're going to add a new line to that. Okay. Then it's asking you to measure D to E. So you're going to measure this length, and you're going to measure B to C. Okay, you're going to do this in centimeters, and then talk about how those 2 lines are related. Okay, if you were paying attention to question 2, I said the two lines that are drawn from the midpoints there on either side, they should be related, where this line here is going to be half the length here. So if you measure in your triangle, if you measure D to E and you measure B to C, your B to C line should be twice as long as D to E. It doesn't matter what kind of a triangle you draw. Um, it doesn't have to be like mine. You can draw a different triangle. All right, so I think that's probably enough help for now. Oh, the other part too is there some of the parts in the investigations are asking you to measure different angles. I think for this one, I think you're being asked to measure angle D right here, and you're asked to measure angle B down here. So if you don't have a protractor, maybe try to do it in GeoGebra, or just estimate what you think those angles should be. If you're doing this on graph paper, that will make it easier for you to estimate those angles. Okay, I'll be in a Google Meet from what time? 10 to 11 today in the morning, and then also in the afternoon during study hall. I think I'm going to make those my 2 regular hours, and you can pop into those 2 Google Meets anytime, any day during the week, Monday through Friday, even if you don't have math that day. Like if you need help with your passion project or you need help from homework the night before, feel free to pop in. So kids are coming in from all 6 different groups to ask for help. So, all right, good luck with your work. You're going to hand in this Google Doc that you're working on, and then you also have some practice questions that you're going to hand in as well. These are here. It looks like it's a lot of work, but it really isn't. You know, like for example, this one here is asking calculate the length of the line segment X to Y. If you have this one being 10, well, we know this one has to be half of 10. So all you have to show is 10 divided by 2 is equal to 5, and that's that length. So it's not a lot of work, even though it looks quite a bit. Number 6, you can't do unless you've done class lesson 16. So some of the color groups are getting home lesson 16 first. Some color groups are getting class lesson 16 first. So depending on if you've done this lesson or not, just hold off until you've done that lesson to complete the very last question before handing it in. All right, good luck. Let me know if you need some help. I'll see you guys in our Google Meet.